Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see you all again. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Welcome to my class, The Daily Current Affairs, which premieres on a daily basis at 6 p.m. from Monday to Saturday. Do not worry about the notes because I provide the notes through my Telegram channel that is by the name of Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. If you have any queries regarding this examination, feel free to talk to me on my Instagram and follow me on my threads. These are the various events that we have to cover. So let's begin with the first question that I gave you to practice. Many of you have answered it correctly. I will pronounce your names by the end of this class. So with reference to the capital expenditure, consider the following statements. The benefit of expenditure extends up to one accounting period. This is a googly statement because here it is written up to one accounting period. If you're nervous, you may not be able to interpret this statement correctly. I'm talking about the nervousness during the exam procedure. Okay, many students do that. They know the answer, but because they are nervous, they end up interpreting a statement incorrectly, and something like that happens. So it is incurred on the day-to-day conduct of business. Second, it increases the earning capacity of a business, and it is a recurring expenditure. How many of the statements given above is or are correct? See, this is a conceptual question. That means you have to know what is a capital expenditure. Then only you can move on with the following statements. A capital expenditure is a long time investment in creation of assets such as land, property, vehicles, computer, furnishing. These are generally one time expenditure. They are non-recurring in nature. That is why it is easier for us to decide on spending on asset creation because they will enhance my capacity to earn more through my business. Okay, so first, let's see the third statement in lieu of that. Third statement is definitely correct about capital expenditure, and it is a non-recurring expenditure. So this is incorrect. The benefit of asset creation extends beyond one accounting period and not up to one accounting period. Up to is the maximum limit. But if I wrote at least instead of up to, then it would have been correct. Here we are talking about interpreting the statement. So up to, it is written, that means the maximum amount of time you can get the benefit of a capital expenditure is one accounting period, which is incorrect. This is also incorrect. And it is not incurred on a day-to-day basis. Do you or will you purchase land daily? I don't think so. And if we talk about revenue expenditure such as paying salary or rent, that is a revenue expenditure almost on a day-to-day occurrence. So this is also incorrect. Only the third statement is correct. One only will be the correct answer. The Department of Expenditure has approved capital investment proposal of this much amount for 16 states in the fiscal year 2023-24, and this is the basic difference between capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure increases the earning capacity of my business because I'm doing asset creation, and thereafter it will help me in earning more. It is incurred to acquire fixed assets for operation of the business. It is a non-recurring expenditure and it benefits more than one accounting year. And then if we talk about revenue expenditure, it is incurred to maintain the earning capacity, paying rent, paying salaries. It is incurred on the day-to-day conduct of a business and it's a recurring one. It normally benefits one accounting year. So I hope you understood it. Next, consider the following statements. Patliputra was also known by the names such as Kusumpura, Pushpapura or Kusumdhwaj. The first vivid account of Patliputra comes at about 300 BC from Megasthenes, who mentions it as Paliputra. The Mauryan pillared hall at Kumrahar was brought to light by excavations conducted by Archaeological Survey of India in the years 1912 to 15 under D.B. Spooner. So how many of the statements given above is or are not correct? It is written. See, this kind of question, if it comes, generally you have to look beyond books. Recently, Kumrahar is in the news, we talk about right now. That is why this question has been formulated. And I am sure that many of you may not know about that it has other names as well, such as Kusumapura, Pushpapura, Kusumdhwaj, Patliputra, the Mauryan capital. See, I have got this, entire information from government websites of art and culture. That is why I always encourage my students to go beyond the standard books and also NCRTs. when we talk about certain important current affairs for art and culture and ancient history. Because I have seen this issue that once the question comes, there is like a scurry for books in which you might think that this question has come from. If you read from the governmental websites, it is going to help you a lot. So yes, first is correct. The first vivid account of Patliputra comes from Megasthenes Indica. Okay, he was a Greek ambassador in the court of Chandragupta Maurya, and he names it as Palibotra. Also, we found out about the 80-pillared hall, and it is in Kumrahar. The excavation was done in 1912 to 1950 under D.B. Spooner by the Archaeological Survey of India, and this was actually funded by Sir Ratan Tata. Very interesting. Another excavation was done not by ASI but another institute between 1951 to 1955. In the first excavation process, we could find out 72 pillars. There were 80, but 72 pillars were found out. Later on, in the second excavation, 8 more pillars were found out, and thereafter the 80-pillared hall. Okay, so first is correct, second is correct, third is correct. None are not correct. Sometimes UPSC can also play psychological games with us. It knows that all the statements are correct, still psychologically it will push you to think that something must be incorrect. Okay, so be careful with these psychological tricks as well. National Monuments Authority has released a draft heritage bylaw for supposed site of Palace of Asoka in Patna, and which is Kumrahar, just few kilometers away from Patna. Okay, in Kumrahar. And as you can see, this is the 80-pillared hall we are talking about. Time by time, through excavation, we found it out. The archaeological remains of ancient Patliputra, namely the 80-pillared hall and Arogya Vihar, are located here, and ancient texts suggest that Patliputra was also known as Patligrama, Patlipura, Kusumpura, Pushpapura, or Kusumdhwaj. Accounts of it have come from, for the first time ever, a vivid explanation about it came from Megasthenes Indica. City, he told that it was like a parallelogram, like this, and it was protected by a massive timber palisade. Further, it is defended by a broad and deep moat of water, which served as the sewer of the city. Also, in other places, we found out certain excavations of these kind of sites, like Lohanipura, Bahadurpura, Sandalpura, Bulandibag, then Kumrahal, I have already told you. Okay, moving on. The modern pillared hall is at Kumrahar, and I have told you that Archaeological Survey of India under D.B. Spooner excavated it. Later on, of course, this was the time when 72 pillars were seen, and all the pillars were made of black spotted buff sandstone monoliths. These are monoliths, and they are very lustrous in nature, very shiny in nature, which is a key you can say key characteristic of this particular art. Okay. Later on, from 1951 to 55, to another excavation that was from another institute, 8 more pillars were discovered. So then, since then, it has been known as 80-pillared hall. Moving on. With respect to the China Plus One strategy, consider the following statements. The term was coined way back in 2013, and it is a strategy in which companies avoid investing only in China. Here is an extreme word, only in China. Rising labor cost and strict data protection laws in China are causing an exaggerated acceptance of this strategy. How many of the statements given above is or are correct? China Plus One strategy means diversification of supply chains and investment hotspots. If we talk about 30 years back, China was a huge market. China started becoming a huge market. It had skilled manpower that was being provided at a very low wage rate. Also, people were very enthused to work. The data protection laws were not as restricted as it is today. So, Western countries, when they started to look for investment hotspots so that they can provide markets in these areas, specifically if we talk about Asia, they wanted to manufacture in such countries so that they could be closer to the markets in Asia. And China became overburdened with that. That means so many companies, Western companies, started investing in China. But recently we found out, since 2008, that here the wage rate is now increasing. First that. Secondly, the data protection laws are becoming stricter and stricter. And that is creating issues for the companies to invest there. we saw that there were protests as well against the wage paid by the company Apple. So now it is highly accepted by many Western countries that we should look for other markets as well, other countries where we can accept. So this is China plus one strategy. We are going to invest in China, but other markets also have to be explored. So yes, this term was coined way back in 2013, that is correct. It is a strategy in which companies avoid investing only in China. This is also correct. Rising labor cost and strict data protection laws are a cause that now companies are looking for other supply chains, supply markets as well. So how many statements given above is that are correct? All three. All three will be correct. Tata Group is going to manufacture iPhones in India for global market and domestic market as well. And this is very important for us because it will give rise to employment opportunities. First, employment. Then second, skilled manpower will not go to foreign lands to look for job. That means curbing of brain drain. Right? But there are certain challenges as well. Challenges such as providing proper economic zones for Apple. Because China has been able to provide hotspots. We know the political system of China is dominated by one party, that is Communist Party of China. So it becomes really easy for them to acquire land for real estate and land for Apple and other companies as well. But for India, because we have a chaotic democracy, it is hard. So we have to reduce the red tapeism, not the democracy, not at all. So we have to reduce red tapeism. More policies should be in favor of such MNCs. Alright. Project will be completed within 2.5 years. The government will support the Tata Group and other Indian electronic companies in its effort to brand it. The deal was finalized after Taiwan-based Wistron Corp said yes. It is a contract manufacturer for Apple. So the Indian unit of this will be acquired by the Tata Group, and Tata Group will own it at 100% stake. It has bought it at $125 million. Coined way back in 2013, I have already explained to you all this, so no need, just for reference for future. With respect to a star campaigner, consider the following statements. For an individual candidate to get a relief from campaign expenditure, the star campaigner has to limit oneself to general campaigning for the party. A recognized party declared as such by the Election Commission can nominate a maximum of 40 star campaigners. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? A star campaigner is the face of a party to campaign in elections, be it general or state assembly elections. And it could be either a politician or a movie star. And there are no specific laws that govern how star campaigners should work. But through the Model Code of Conduct, the Election Commission keeps an eye on this project. So, a recognized party declared as such by the Election Commission can nominate a maximum of 40 star campaigners. Yes. If it is an unrecognized one, then 20 star campaigners. For an individual candidate to get a relief from the campaign expenditure, there is a threshold for this. The star campaigner has to limit oneself to general campaigning of the party. That is also correct. 1 and 2 both are correct. Both 1 and 2 will be the correct answer. The BJP has unveiled a list of star campaigners for the upcoming Madhya Pradesh elections. But former CM Uma Bharti doesn't find her name here because in 2000, see why we find it intriguing, because in 2003 she made it possible to have a historic win for BJP. Okay, a star campaigner is a celebrity vote seeker that is going to campaign for a party. Could be a politician or a movie star. There is no law which governs who can be made a star campaigner or not. It is he or she is nominated by a concerned political party specifying their constituencies and duration of the status. Election Commission through the Model Code of Conduct gives us some detail about it. Expenditure incurred on electioneering by star campaigner, remember that it is not added to a candidate's poll expenditure, which is giving them more leeway. And according to the Representation of People's Act, these expenses will be borne by the political party itself. So these are important prelim statements. For an individual candidate to get a relief from it, they will have to just keep themselves in the general campaigning. Consider the following countries: USA, Australia, Canada, India, UK. How many of the above countries are a part of the Five Eyes Alliance? Five Eyes Alliance are again in the news because they have said China is a global threat. Other than this, New Zealand has also backed many countries of the Five Eyes, which says that India shouldn't have expelled diplomats of Canada. This is what they are saying. So the intelligence agency, Five Eyes, it is a very clandestine agency. We know very less about it. Very less. Whatever credible information comes from a website. And the thing is that these this particular intelligence agencies make it possible for five countries to exchange intelligence and knowledge in a seamless manner. So USA is a part of it, Australia is a part of it, Canada, United Kingdom, as well as New Zealand. Okay, India is not a part of it. Four only will be the correct answer. According to what we know, in 1946, USA and UK unrestricted exchange of intelligence on communication of foreign nations. Why do I say as much as we know? Because different websites give us different information. The most credible one is saying that it is since 1946. Later on, Canada joined this alliance in 1948, followed by Australia and New Zealand in 1956. Alright, and hence the birth of Five Eyes. Alright, so I hope you understood it. Now, this is the practice question for you to solve. Consider the following statements. During winter, the air near the atmosphere of the earth is dense and cooler, and the warm air traps the cool air and forms an atmospheric lid, which is known as inversion. The vertical mixing of air happens within this layer, as a result of which the pollutants disperse back in the atmosphere. So choose the correct answer using the following codes. Alright, tell this to me in the comment segment. Also, let me take the names of those students who have answered my last question correctly. So you can answer this one as well. One only was the one, right? Riya has answered it correctly, also given the explanation. Satish, Shantanu, Swati, Padmashri, Abhishek, Gopesh, Mansi, Siddharth, JV Khan, JV Khani, Ankit, Ritu, Unnati, Mindful, Priyadarshan, Vaibhav, Abul, thank you so much, Destiny, Vivek, Suresh, Mandeep. You all have answered it correctly. Answer this one as well, and I will again announce your name soon. Thank you so much for watching.